Good evening, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. My name is Brent Northey. I work for Subatomic Systems, one of our sponsors tonight. I'm very proud to be here. Donna hooked me up with this opportunity, and I've been very moved by playing on the iPad. And finally, we've gotten there where we can play out and play well on just that. So I'm going to give you just a quick breakdown of where I came from and why I like being here now. I started DJing in the mid-90s. I started DJing on the first Pioneer CD players ever made, which were extremely archaic at this point, but very functional for what I wanted them to do. I played for maybe a year or so and didn't play very well, but I started cutting my teeth. And as things progressed, I realized that I couldn't buy all the music that I wanted to buy on CDs because all the cool DJs were playing records. Well, I ended up buying turntables. Kind of a digression. Then I could buy the music that I wanted, but I was further challenged by learning how to use the turntables and really understanding mixing records with needles, etc. As things progressed, CD players got better again, and I started doing a little bit of both, and I'm not really focused on any technology anymore, but I still enjoy a lot of the better stuff that we have. So I went through a phase where I was trying to stay away from a computer and simply just use CDJs, but then I'm carrying around this giant box everywhere and trying to set it up and put it on a stand and put it in front of people and still mess around and kind of get involved with the other DJ's setup, messing with plugs, things like that. It's just not very good if you're trying to create a seamless experience between different DJs, different technologies. Then I got into using a computer, using an application called Virtual DJ. And I went through multiple iterations with that. Good friend of mine, Mark, here that is visiting, really showed me how to make that work. Then Traktor came into my world, and Traktor typically lives on a laptop, either driven by a control surface or vinyl that's using timecode. And that was a really good experience. It's been hard to transition from that to here, but being here is where I want to be. So what I'm going to talk to you about now is the fact that we finally have Traktor on the iPad that works well enough to play in front of a lot of people, big crowds, and it brings a lot more to the table. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is, I can just swipe just like, I typically would with vinyl. If I want to make a loop, I just put my fingers down. Now we have a loop. So let's start with that. It'll just go and go and go. I can make it wider or shorter and let it go. And one of the advantages of the touch device, and we'll also see this with many of the MIDI fighter items, is that I can freeze it and play it. Which gives you the ability to really start taking two tracks into one piece, or two different pieces, and generating new songs. The great thing about this is I can touch it and do everything I want. The terrible thing about it is if you get too excited and you touch it, something's going to happen, because that's what it's supposed to do. Where, typical DJs are, we're on our knobs and our crossfaders and we're doing this and we're doing that, but you have tactile response. You know where that knob is. You can feel it. And that's something I've had to learn with this is, get excited, put your hands behind your back. don't go too crazy over here. So, any questions so far?
So, you don't have headphones, so how are you queuing tracks, and how about like beat matching?
Great question. Oh, as the door opens.
Do you have a free beat match?
Let me repeat the question. So, I can beat match and beat grid. I will show you that. As well as, there's a sound card sitting here. It's kind of hiding, and we're swimming in wires. But I have full cue and control across the device. So I can preview any track and see where I'm going to go, make a decision about that, make sure it's together. So based on your question, I will show you what you do when it's not together. So we'll go back to playing this. So this screen here is going to show me, I'm going to wind back here, hold on. So as you can see in the bottom level, whoops, that's showing me where the beat is. It's actually matched, but if I want to shift it, all I do is slide it. And it will remember, and I say thank you and done, and the iPad will remember where I put that track next time I play it. What's that?
Using the audio waves visually to match?
No. All through my headphones if I would like to.
Okay.
Through the audio card.
Frank, can you repeat the questions first?
Yeah. Thank you, Roman. Can I beat match through my headphones? Yes. Using the audio card. I'm actually outputting directly right now because we're using the output of the iPad to be on the screen. One of the biggest disadvantages that I've realized with this platform is that I cannot power the iPad and talk to the sound card and or talk to the projector all at the same time. So the next thing we need to figure out is, oh wait, how do we do all three of these things at once? Other questions? Why did I switch? So the question was, what's the advantage over virtual DJ versus Tractor DJ? I switched because Tractor DJ had been creating a product for a very, very long time, and they just had not produced surfaces that were available, that were intuitive, and it was mostly using just the computer, and there was no knobs and sliders and things like that. I feel like my education about MIDI controllers and that sort of stuff wasn't quite where it should have been at that time. And now Native Instruments has really rolled out amazing products to do that sort of stuff. And that's also what Michael's going to talk about in a little bit. That's really, kind of changing the game.
What's the audience's reaction to iPad DJing these days?
Well, I've had mixed results.
What's the question, please?
Thank you. What is the audience's response to somebody playing on iPad? The initial response is, it's another iPad DJ guy. But if they spend enough time listening, you actually realize that I'm truly, engaging the tracks. I'm mixing. I'm cueing. I'm doing everything that people would do.
Curious about how long percent you can find with battery?
6 hours. So the question was, how long can I play? On one charge on the iPad running through the sound card, 6 hours. It seems to be about 10% an hour, so I could probably stretch it to 8.
Powering with the iPad powering the sound card?
The iPad will not power the sound card.
Oh, okay.
The iPad has no power whatsoever, so that's why you need one of the more recent sound cards from Native Instruments that actually accepts power.
Have you ever had any technical difficulties on the iPad? So
I have not had any technical, nothing yet. I haven't been surprised, and I've played a 6-hour set on it. Also recording.
Does it record a wave or MP3?
I don't know.
I bet you it's MP3.
I bet you it's MP3 too, Mark. So the question was, does it record in WAV or MP3? I haven't actually gone in and pulled out one of the files yet. Anybody else?
How do you think this compares to DJ app? There's an app called DJ that I've seen a lot of people use with little tiny turntables that you can scratch and everything. I was just curious if you use that one.
I have never used it. No. Ready?
I'd be curious about just a mix flow. Like have something playing, how you're going to bring in a new track, and how you interact to get the first track to where you want it. Is that be possible?
Sure. So I'll demonstrate actually doing a full mix between 2 tracks for you guys. Okay? So you can watch me go through, and I'll go into my music library. I will dig into one of my sets that I have. I will select a track. I have all sorts of things I should or should not play. We'll just pick a track and see how it goes. So in that move, I just loaded one song. So we'll start playing it. I am running sync, so I cannot preview, so you guys can see it. Otherwise, the sound card would be plugged in. You can see here the A is pulsing, telling me that that track is playing. So it's telling me that if I press up, I'm going to overrun what's playing. So I'm going to pull down. That loads the other track, and you'll see the waveform coming up. So I'm going to pull it in and make a selection. So what I just did is I pulled out the EQ drawer. One of the larger advantages of using the iPad is that it's touch. So I can change the bass, mid, treble, all at once. One major advantage. Also a disadvantage if you're moving your hands around too much. Another advantage, effects. So it makes many of these can't do that with just this. At least I can have 3 fingers on the whole thing. I'm going to mix from one song to the other. Song to the other. Not so hard. And it's totally light. It's easy to carry. I don't have a bunch of stuff. I have all my music with me. I still get to record. I can roll it back into the system. And it also, you can just straight up post it to Dropbox out of the app. So I could go out, play. If I have a network, push it out and say, I'm done. Which I find very cool. What's that? Yeah, you could. Yes.
Brent, do they have apps that go across 2 iPads so you can use both hands and not feel so awkward?
Actually, that's a great question. Raman's question was, do they have can you combine two together? The answer is no, but if you're using your laptop with regular Tractor DJ, you can actually trigger all the MIDI effects and that sort of thing from here on the laptop. So you can control the laptop with the iPad and get all the touch coolness, which is great.
And then, Brent, I mean, it's cool that Tractor's living on an iPad, but then there's this other Tractor. Is there any kind of relationship between the two? You know, you have a DJ that's using Tractor with a big piece of hardware, and now there's this iPad. But is there any interaction between the two? Those
Well, that's what we just talked about. So I can control regular Tractor.
points and loop points. And
Correct. Very controllable.
Together.
Yes. Any other questions?
Does it support audio copy?
What's that?
Audio copy?
I'm not familiar with it.
Audio copy is just a way for you to copy audio from different iOS apps. So, say I have an app and configure a loop and figure, I can bring it into the Tractor right away. And it syncs via USD as well, which is like a MIDI sync with the Wi-Fi.
Okay, so the question was, does Tractor support audio copy? I don't know. I've never used audio copy. In the back?
If someone was learning how to DJ, do you think they'd have a hard time understanding the Tractor relative to, say, large turntable in no space? Or would you recommend they start with something like an iPad?
The question was, if people are learning to DJ, would this application be better than starting with the traditional devices and or workflows? I would say the answer is it depends on who they are and what their goals are. I find this to be very intuitive. If you understand mixing, it makes sense. I understand, it's the cheesy phrase, 2 turntables and a microphone. Who doesn't understand that? It's like this song, that song, the mixer in between. So I think it's a challenge either way.
Last question? Rodney, did you have one
I
question?
was just curious, you're talking about using the iPad as a controller for Tractor.
Mm-hmm.
So the basic process is just plug it in the USB, iPad with charge. It works like an SLR basically, with no touchscreen.
Yeah, there's a nice tutorial at nativeinstruments.com on how to make that sync happen.
Okay, we have to wrap it up, but I'd like to thank Brent.
Thanks, everybody.